Hey, what's up guys? Auto Fanatics. So today's video, I'm going to do a full review on a brand new Porsche 718 GTS 4.0. So this car pretty much is like a street version of the Porsche GT4. It's got some subtle differences, but this has a 4-liter, 396 horsepower, 309 foot-pounds of torque. Really slick car, and William came up from Jersey today to show it to me. He's got a couple of mods done to it, and this one also has a pretty high MSRP. So William was telling me a couple of the options that he did were the gold wheels. This is not aftermarket. This is factory Porsche option that he ordered. High gloss window trim along the frames. Now, William, were the door handles an option?
Yes, that was an option.
Okay, that's a factory option as well. What's the name of this color called?
Chalk.
This is called the Chalk, okay, which is pretty popular. And he also has the full GTS interior pack. We'll show you that right now. I mean, this thing is really sharp. You know, black leather, charcoal Alcantara, red stitching, full carbon fiber. You can see it right there. And he actually opted to get the 18-way power seats. These are what I call the normal seats because the carbon buckets, you just really can't enjoy them on a regular basis. You got the carbon fiber down here. This was definitely an option. What else was done on the car, Will? We got the red seat belts, right?
Red seat belts came with the GTS interior package. We got the power steering plus.
Power steering plus. This car now does not have the GT3 style suspension. This has the 718 suspension with PASM, which is the active suspension control, and it's 20 millimeters lower in the ride height. Now back here, now Will, was this an option, the black spoiler?
The high gloss black spoiler.
Okay, that was an option as well. What about the exhaust finishers? This has like a shadow. Is that like a?
No, that's stock.
That's stock, okay. So this car, Will, what was the MSRP? You said 112? Was it
112,930.
So 112,930 for this 718 GTS 4.0 liter. So this is going to be kind of cool to check it out. I think this car is incredible because it really bridges the gap between the standard 718 and also the GT4. Really, if you're not going to, really need the high wing in the back, you're not going to be hardcore tracking the car, you don't want the carbon buckets, I definitely think, these cars start at about 90, but it depends on how you option them out. But this definitely is probably going to be the more viable option for anybody that wants to get into this type of a car, mid-engine layout. And I'll still say it, I still think that this layout is one of the best handling cars ever created by Porsche. It just blows away everything, even like cars like the M2 CS or any car in that category. This car is so small, so tight, so telepathic in the steering. It's just absolutely incredible, and I'll talk some more about it when we take it for a spin in a couple of moments. But also, the GTS has a GTS-specific front fascia. Really cool projector beam headlamps. Very cool. This car's got full PPF, a couple other options as well with the Cocoa mats, but I think it's awesome. So, William, why don't we start the car up and get some dry revs for the video? All right, guys, so we're just going to start it up and do a little bit of revs just so you can kind of hear. He did a sole over the axle. What did you do, a muffler or resonator delete?
Sole over axle pipes.
Okay, so you did the sole over.
Resonated.
Does this have the particular filter in the muffler?
No, it doesn't have the particular.
It doesn't, okay. So start it up, let's check it out. This thing sounds nice. Rev it up a little bit. Sounds awesome, actually. Really cool. So we're gonna get the camera strapped in and we're gonna go for a little ride, and I'll talk to you more about the 718 GTS in a couple of moments. All right, guys, this is exciting. I'm in a brand new Porsche 718 GTS. It's the 4-liter. And this is a really awesome car. This car is like the perfect size for any kind of performance car. And believe it or not, like a C8 Corvette is a, kind of an affordable mid-engine sports car, but I'm gonna tell you right now, this thing sounds better. This is definitely gonna be better built as far as interior quality and paint quality and everything else. And probably get this for about the same price. So a lot of people complain about these cars with the gearing, but oh my God, this thing feels so good. And we have different modes. We have Sport, we have Sport Plus. Right now we're in Sport, and this also has like an auto blip feature. Porsche makes some of the best manual transmissions out of any car ever. Blows away the American cars in terms of the feel and the engagement in your hand, blows away BMW. They make the best feel manual transmissions. The only other car that I really, really loved the manual was the Aston Martin V12 Vantage. That has an incredible gearbox as well, but a lot of the cars today, the BMWs, they feel a little notchy and rubbery. And the American cars, they just feel really stiff, not as smooth and finesse, but it's Porsche. That's pretty much what you're gonna get. This also has a Sport Chrono Pack. This car, the way it's spec'd, for me, I absolutely love it. Absolutely love the spec on this car. The color, the interior, the gold wheels, it's just absolutely awesome. And this has the Power Assist Steering Plus, which is an option. It's supposed to give you a little bit more feedback. Now, I will say, based on the newer cars, I do prefer the CAYMAN steering on like the very, very first generations of these where they had the hydraulic assist. I just think, with the EPS systems, you're kind of, every car manufacturer is doing things differently. BMW makes everything over stiff, but this car feels really good. We're gonna go on this rotor. Oh my God, this thing is awesome. I think whatever exhaust he did with the Soul Performance over the axle, it sounds amazing. It doesn't sound like a GT4, whereas I was buying a 2016 GT4 in January of 2020. That engine and that car, that was a 3.8 liter, was very, very loud in the cabin. So this has an active exhaust. We can just hit the switch and kind of go open and close very easily. But we want to have it open just because I want to get the full experience out of this car. And I also want to share it with you guys in this video. But ride quality, phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. This car is not beating me up like my GT350R. Has a very similar ride quality to my Alfa Romeo Giulia Quadrifoglio. It's not as stiff and choppy as an Alfa Romeo 4C or like a Lotus Exige. But this car rides great. Even the C8 Corvette has a very, very good ride. And that car, that car's all aluminum and it's got the magnetic ride control. This car only has a dual stage adjustable suspension. But yeah, this is a nice car. So yeah, I could see why people are complaining, like, yeah, you're cruising around, you're only in first, second, and third gear, and I kind of get it. But in reality, in America, we don't live in the Autobahn where you can kind of wind these things out everywhere you go. So you're gonna have to kind of take the good with the bad, but oh, this thing is sweet. Just the 718 CAYMAN chassis, it's just such a good platform. That's why I like the GT4s, and now they got the GT4 RS. That thing is gonna be a track monster. Oh my God, I would love to get one. I'm still tempted for my personal self to get a GT4. I don't know, but this actually is definitely a more viable and practical option for me. I mean, I'm not gonna track the car, it's just personal lifestyle. I just can't do that right now with my back injuries, and I love these power seats. Porsche, in my opinion, makes some of the best seats in the business. They always did. No matter what model you get, whether it's a Panamera, Cayenne, their seats are just awesome. Yeah, I mean, this car really has a nice little rumble and rawness to it, but it's not like to the point where it's like shaking your teeth apart. It still has such a great build quality. I mean, you can see all the stitching. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And this is what you're paying for. This is why you're paying over 100 grand for one of these cars, is just the quality. The fit and finish is the best in the business. It really is. I mean, in these kind of categories of cars, because you could get into like a Ferrari that's 3 times the price, and you'll start seeing some imperfections that'll make you want to, vomit, to be honest with you, after you spent 350 grand. I mean, this is really where you want to drive this car. It's just a nice back road. Oh my God. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. You could feel the multilink rear suspension. as soon as the road turns a little bit, you can kind of feel it pull you right through into the corner. I wouldn't mind a little less steering assist. That's just my personal preference. There might be a way to change it. Let's go into Sport. We're in Sport Plus now. I just felt that there's a little bit more shock rebound in the car going into Sport Plus. We got a radar detector. Oh, man. God damn, this thing is freaking fun. This is why I personally love, as the older I've gotten, as great as the Shelbys and the Camaros could be, like, really good performance cars, I really love a smaller car. It's just a little bit more fun to toss around, a little bit more nimble. You kind of connect with the car a little bit more.
K band.
Turn that off.
Log out this signal.
Woo! This thing is awesome. I wouldn't mind a little bit more torque on the bottom end, but we got to think about this, and this is what I want to talk about in this video. We don't live in the Autobahn. We are not all going to the racetrack. We want to have, for enthusiasts and people that love sports cars, we want to have a car that you could actually enjoy all the time. Okay, you could drive this car every day, and I'll tell you right now, perfectly comfortable, no issues whatsoever. You want to put winter tires on it, go for it. You'll have a blast. This car is not beating you up. It's very well built. It's going to be reliable. And you could enjoy it most of the time. Whereas on a GT4, with those fixed carbon buckets, I think you're going to hate the car unless that's really what you want. They do look better. They do help resale value, and all of that stuff. But, sometimes you just don't need that. You just want to keep it simple. Yeah, when she gets up to $6,000, that's where it feels the best. Suspension's a little bumpier in Sport Plus. We're in Sport Plus mode. Wow. God damn. It is the confidence that this car gives you. Oh my God. Unbelievable. If anybody out there watches this video and you're looking at like a BMW M2 competition or an M2 CS, I'm going to tell you now, this car, as far as the handling, blows it out of the water. And it sounds better, in my opinion. Wow, what a nice package, man. This is, this feels like a GT4 minus like 10% of like the harshness and the noise, which is kind of like really what you're gonna want if you're gonna drive it on the street like this on some nice twisty back roads. You're not gonna want to beat yourself up all the time. Where you're cocked forward and you're in that stiff bucket seat, breaking your backs. Hey, look, I got Cars and a Coffee and I got the cooler seats in the car. But in actuality, I haven't met anybody that's had a GT Porsche that loves those carbon fixed back seats. They all complain about them. Brakes are great. The front end does have a typical 911 feel in the steering, where you kind of hit bumps, you get a little like a bump steer effect, which is kind of like how all these cars are. But it's just part of the characteristics of Porsche, and how they build these cars. I mean, even if you drove a 1989 930 Turbo or any of the older G-body cars that had torsion bar front suspensions with manual steering, when you hit bumps, it gives you that same feel that the older Porsches give you, except with a lot more refinement and, telepathy thrown in. But this is a killer car, man. I am so thankful that Will reached out to me months back. He's like, hey, I got this Porsche GTS 4-liter. He's like, I really want you to do a review on your channel. I was like, well, I actually my back was really bad months back. And I told him, I said, listen, I would love to do it, but now is probably not the best time to be doing a review on a Porsche. And I actually thought he had the carbon buckets, but I'm feeling a lot better now, and I'll tell you right now, you know, if you got a choice between, you got 100 grand to spend or 120, this car came in at 112, okay? What are your options? Now, at M2 CS, right now, those cars are used. They no longer make it. It was only like a one-year only car. They're going between 120 to 150, okay, used. So in terms of a new high-performance mid-engine sports car in this range, you really only have the C8 Corvette. And I'm going to tell you now, the C8 Corvette does not have the manual transmission. And I did a review on the channel, and I actually still may consider buying one because I think it's a good platform, and it'll be good for content creation to modify it and kind of learn the car a little bit more. But the manual transmission, in my opinion, this just makes the experience that much more enjoyable, especially if you're an enthusiast and you love to drive. You just feel more connected with the car rather than bang, bang, bang. You know, my Alfa Romeo Quadrifoglio, I prefer that car with the paddles. It just suits the character and the way that I daily drive that car. For my lifestyle, it just works a little bit better. But man, this thing is awesome. Absolutely awesome. We're gonna go back into sport mode. Now we're in like the comfort mode. Yeah, this thing's got plenty of power. Plenty of power until the mail woman had to cut me off. But yeah, I got to get in front of her now. So this is going to be the end of the video. I think she did that intentionally. But we'll loop it around. And look, we can hit the button here. And now that's what the exhaust closed. So he did an active exhaust module. I don't know what brand. I think he's mentioned Capristo maybe makes it. But look, now we're just cruising around. So anything below 4,000, the valves are going to stay closed, which is good if you want to be on the cell phone, you want to listen to, you know, the radio. This car also has the optional Burmester stereo, which is big money. And I recommend that if you're into music and you want to go out, you know, on a weekend alone and go for a nice little trip up north, definitely get the upgraded audio because it just makes it a much, much better experience. Yeah, I can feel. Now this car has Pirelli tires. I'm going to recommend to the owner of the car to get them off the car. I could just feel a little bit of sidewall flex, and I definitely would. This car with a set of Cup 2s or a Pirelli Corsa, I think would be way, way better. But then again, now you're going to take away the street manners and the usability when the temperatures drop, and also when it starts to rain. But we're going to head back to the park. I'm going to wrap up this drive. But man, this thing is a blast. I don't want to give it back, but I have to. I'll tell you one thing. This car is a lot easier to drive than my GT350R. It's just, it seems like the seating position is better for me and my body frame. It's got a much better, smoother transmission. It doesn't have the brakes that the Shelby has. Also, the Shelby, I think, has a lot more grip and a little bit more communication that I feel on the front end. Of course, we got, you know, huge 305 tires in the Shelby. They're very different cars, but you know, you really could only compare this to, you know, for the price point is a C8 Corvette. And I think if you want a manual gearbox, this is the one to get, you know, unless you want to go a little step further and get that GT4. Right now, a GT4 would probably cost you between $20,000 to $35,000 over the price of this car. And it really depends on the options. You know, with Porsche, you could kind of look, he even did the leather-wrapped steering column covers, you know, with the deviated stitching. I mean, all these little options, they just add up. You know, every little thing you could even do, if you wanted to, the different colors on the air vents, you could kind of go crazy on these cars with personalization. And that's what's really cool about it. So they give you those options. Look, we're on a busted road right now. The car's perfectly comfortable. Very, very comfortable car. And I talk about that a lot in my drive videos. When you have a good chassis and a good suspension, the car is comfortable, you know? When you use aluminum and you use a lot of these components, it's just a good car. Look at this road is completely busted up. You don't hear any rattles. You don't hear any squeaks. Solid as a rock. Solid as a rock. 112,000, but look what you're getting. You know, you're getting far superior fit and finish than a C8 Corvette, and that's something to consider. You know, some people, they buy a car based on style or what's the newest trend or, you know, kind of like what's everybody wants. But I don't know, in my opinion, when you're spending money, you have to look into the paint quality, the body gaps, the interior fit and finish, dealer network. I have two Alfa Romeos. We know about dealer network issues. And Porsche, you know, they're a very solid brand in the United States, so they have a really good dealer network. So you shouldn't have any issues with that, with support. And then as far as aftermarket support, I mean, the sky's the limit on these cars. There's so many vendors that make stuff, and you could join the PCA. You could do Porsche track events. So you become part of the culture when you get into this car. Now, as far as Corvette, yeah, there's an abundance of aftermarket too, but I don't think the culture is as tight-knit as Porsche and as Ferrari and certain brands, you know? And every brand is going to be a little bit different in that regard. We just saw the police, so we don't want to aggravate him and have him come after us with the active exhaust. So we got the exhaust off. We're going to... Oh, I think we're still off. Oh, I don't think it'll turn on in that mode. There we go. Man, what a good car. So yeah, I'm in second gear. It's got long gearing. I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't mind being, you know, between third and second as I'm going through some of these roads, but it is what it is. And to be honest with you, if you don't think about it subconsciously, you don't even realize it. You know, you kind of just adapt your driving habits with the car. And it's not that big of a deal. I know everybody reviews these cars and complain, oh, the gearing is terrible. I don't think it's terrible. I just think, you know, they designed this car, you know, really for the Autobahn and for Germany, not for the American congested roadways that we have to drive on. So it's just what they did. Now, I do know there's a company, SharkWorks. They do have a gearing option. They change the gears out on these things. I don't know how much that costs, but I know one of my customers has done that on his GT4, and he told me it makes a huge difference as far as fun factor when he rides the mountains. He lives down in Georgia, and he goes into the Blue Ridge Mountains and Taylor to Dragon and all of that. And he did tell me that the gearing, when he did the upgrade, was a very, very worthy upgrade. So we're going to head over to park. I'm going to give you guys my final thoughts, and we're going to wrap up this video in a couple of moments. All right, guys, so just got back from the drive in the 718 GTS, and I got to say the car is absolutely phenomenal. I just told Will, the one thing I would change immediately, get rid of these Pirelli P0 tires and go with a Michelin. I could just feel a little squishiness in the car. And the other thing that I would do, Will, like just from feeling it, the steering could be a little harder. I don't know if there's a setting on that I wasn't hitting, but maybe you could dial that in with a custom wheel alignment. If you brought it to a good Porsche shop, they could do that. But overall, I think the car's not overpriced. I think you're getting a lot of car for the money. You're getting a very analog mid-engine sports car feel. And I tell you right now, if you had a choice to spend 100 grand to 120 grand between this and a C8 Corvette, and you want to have a more analog experience, this is the one to get. So thanks for coming along and watching this video on the AutoFanatic channel. Stay tuned for more auto content, and also more car reviews are going to be coming on the channel soon. I want to thank Will for coming up today from New Jersey to give me the opportunity to drive his brand new Porsche 718 GTS. I think the car is phenomenal. It looks great. It's an incredible spec. The car is built like a tank. You could hear it. We were on some of those busted roads. There's not one squeak or rattle, and the car makes just the right noises and right sounds, and it gives you the confidence and feedback that you're going to want in any kind of a real performance car. This car you could daily drive 100% of the time, whereas a car like an Alfa Romeo 4C, you're probably not going to want to drive that car daily. And if you guys are looking at a BMW M2, I'm going to tell you right now, this car sounds better. I think it looks better. It's probably going to hold its resale value better, and I just think it's a better car. Kind of like the same price category, 100%. So thanks again for watching. Stay tuned to the channel for more content. I'll see you guys in the next one soon.